Hey guys, today I'm going looking for clay up here in northern Arizona, and I thought I'd bring you with me to show you how I go about finding clay in a new area. I've been spending time up here in the St. John's, Arizona area, studying some of the local pottery types and the local clays, and I've collected some really nice colorful slip clays. But if I look at the ancient pottery, a lot of the really best stuff is made on like a very light colored, a gray body clay. And so I've got some red and some yellow and some white slips that I've collected up here. But now I'm looking for that gray colored body clay. I'm gonna drive around and see if I can find some of this light colored body clay in this area.
I know that you feel all alone in this world, but you have to put your trust into us and we will help.
So we've got some pottery piles out here. This is where people have collected pottery around this site and kind of made piles out of it. Now archaeologists tell us we shouldn't do this. We should look at the pottery and put it back where we found it. But for somebody like me that's out here just to look at the pottery and learn about the way it was made and the kinds of clay they were using, it's kind of handy to have these piles. So we can look at this and we can look at some of these sherds and we can see what kind of clay they were using. So with these decorated pieces here with the White Mountain red ware, which is this orange colored slip, and then if we look at the inside, if we look where it's broken, the body clay, the clay the pot was actually formed out of, is a white or a gray colored clay. And here's a black on white sherd, again, light colored clay with a white slip and black paint on it. Now, there's several of these that are corrugated or utilitarian ware, and they're all brown ware. So that may indicate that they weren't making this decorated ware here, that it was being traded in from somewhere else, and that white clay was not found local to this site. But it was being made here in this area, along this valley, or really close by, and it was being made with a light colored clay. So I think what we can learn here is the decorated ware was made with a finer quality, light colored clay. Utilitarian ware used a poorer quality, brown colored clay. And that's why I'm trying to find that light colored clay, because I'm trying to recreate some of these finer polychrome type pieces that were made in this valley. So driving up a back road, this grayish colored material caught my eye as possible clay. When you look at it, it's fairly light colored. It has that crackled texture. That tells me that it's expansive and therefore it's clay. You can dig into it and find some of those hard angular chunks. So it's definitely clay, but I think it's got a lot of other minerals in it. If you look at the color, it's almost lavender. It's very kind of purplish, and it's got these inclusions of this yellowish material that you can see here. And so I'm relatively certain that because it's got all these other minerals in it, it's not going to fire light gray. It's probably going to fire brown or tan as those minerals oxidize in the fire. So although this is clay and it is relatively light colored, I really don't think this is a good light gray colored clay body. So I'm going to keep looking. A lot like the last place, this clay, although it's light colored, seems to have a lot of other minerals in it. It's got a lot of inclusions, kind of a purplish material. It's got some kind of maroon reddish material near it. It's got little yellow bits. So I think, again, it's going to fire more on the brown side. So I think I'm going to keep looking for something lighter. stuff has a lot of clay in it, but it's gritty. It's got a lot of grit in it. Sand or volcanic ash, or I don't know. It's glittery in the sun, whatever it is. I don't think I want it because I'm afraid I'm gonna have to spend too much effort trying to get all that grit out of it. This is a halfway decent looking gray clay right here. So I brought my bucket and I'm gonna collect some of this. I'll show you what I'm looking at. First of all, you can tell it's clay because it breaks into these angular chunks. Also, it's been compressed in the ground and it's pretty hard, it's pretty firm. But if it was silty, it wouldn't be quite this hard. So clay compresses real well into a solid chunk. The color looks good. It's a little dark gray, but that dark gray is usually caused simply from organic matter that burns out in the firing. So I'm not overly concerned about the darkness of the gray. What I'm not seeing a lot of are yellow streaks, yellow inclusions, red, maroon inclusions, which would indicate iron or manganese, other minerals that can make your clay dark after firing. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to turn brown in the firing. It just gives me some clues that it might not. So it's worth bringing home and testing out. All right, let's recap the results of my clay hunt. I've been up here in the Little Colorado River Valley for almost 2 weeks now, and I've looked a lot of places. I've looked at a lot of clays. And, you know, I'm kind of picky about what I select, what I choose to bring home and experiment with. And I make those decisions based on my past experience with clays and also kind of a gut instinct. So what I choose to take home may not always end up to be the best clays. They're just what I feel, you know, appear to be the best clays. Because, you know, clay in its raw form and clay in the studio are, you know, two different animals. Let me show you what I've got and kind of talk about why I chose what I did, and then go forward with, you know, where I'm going beyond this. So the first clay I want to talk about is this yellow clay that came from up along the Mogollon Rim. And I've used this before. This is good for a slip clay, so I'll use it, I'll levigate it, I'll use it as a decorative element. I'll slip the outside of a pot, polish it up nice, then paint on it, and it'll fire to a nice bright red color. So this isn't a new clay, this is the clay I've used before. And the same for this white, this also comes from the same area. It's a nice solid white colored clay, and it stays bright white in an oxidizing fire, so kind of rare in that matter. So these are both clays I've used before that I'm just getting more of. Now, these are more experimental. This is a red clay that I got that I'm hoping will hold organic paint. So in prehistoric times, there was red slips used in this area that would turn organic paint black. Now, not all clays will turn organic paint black. Most clays, the organic paint will burn out, leaving you with a light ghost, kind of a gray image. So I'm going to experiment with using this with organic paint and see if it works. I don't know, but it comes from the right area and it is a bright red. So that's for experimenting. This is another white clay that I found on the rim, so new to me. It's got a little bit of a greenish cast to it. Not quite as white looking as this, but that doesn't mean anything. So I'm gonna experiment with this both as a slip and as a building clay, and I'll let you know how that works out. Now this one is even more unusual. This is actually appears to be a black clay. Now it's very dark here, but I think once I get it wet, it's gonna be even darker. So hopefully we'll see what comes of this. Down at Zuni, they have black clay that fires stark white. So don't be fooled when you see a dark colored clay like this thinking it's gonna fire black. Chances are that dark color is caused by organic matter in the clay. That organic matter will then burn out, leaving you with whatever the clay is aside from the organic matter, which could be white, could be brown, could be red, we don't know. We'll see. This is interesting material, very flaky, very strange textured. On the surface where this is dry, it is bright white. Dig down in, it's kind of a greenish gray color. So I think this is a type of bentonite just based on the way it's flaking here. I don't know for sure. I'm going to do some experiments and see what we get. Bentonites are more inclined to hold organic paint and turn them black. So we'll see what comes of that. Now, the only clay I collected a whole bucket of is this gray clay from over by Lyman Lake. And you know, it may or may not be any good. We'll see. It just feels like the right kind of clay that might make a good building clay, you know, for hand building pottery. I bought 2 buckets. I only filled 1, and I really wanted to bring 2 5-gallon buckets home, but this is all the clay that I found that was seemed to be good quality and in enough quantity that I could fill a bucket. So we'll see. It may not work out at all. Time will tell. Now, these are clays that were given to me. This is a green clay that Tori Hoops gave me that I'm going to try out. It's very hard now, but it'll slake down. And then this is one of her go-to clays. This is a whitish, kind of a greenish white colored clay that she uses for forming pots. And I'll see how that works out too. So that'll be fun to play with. This is something that has known qualities because she uses it regularly. So, and this is a white clay that John Olson gave me from southern Utah. They're in the Boulder, Utah area. And he says this is a good white slip. So I'll do some experiments with that. So I've got a lot of clays to try when I get home. I've got a lot of experiments to do to see how these work out. I'm still looking for a light colored building clay, something that I can coil that'll be a light colored body. Hopefully this is it. If this isn't it, I may have to come back and look some more. Now, I'm leaving my camper up here. I'm gonna come back in maybe a couple weeks, sometime in the next month or so, and spend some more time. So hopefully I'll get these experiments done, and then I can come back, do some more clay research if I need to. Maybe I've got what I need here and I won't have to do some more searching. Not that I don't enjoy searching for clay, I do. If you'd like to learn more about how to identify clay in nature, check out this video over here, which talks about the properties you can notice in clay that helps you know that it is clay or that it is good clay. I appreciate you coming with me today. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.